I'll jump to another topic, Secretary. This deals with kay Yusek Mapa on sa PSA. Let me just pull up my notes. Since PSA is actually our budget's bigger than the OSEC budget, no? By I think 4 or 5 folds, no. So, but I'll go to the PSA some PSA items. Uh, can you give us a status, Yusek Mapa, of CBMS? No?
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chair. As you're aware, we started the CBMS in 2021, the data collection. But for 2024, all the local government units, 1,642 of them, participated in the community-based monitoring system. So we completed already the CBMS for this 1,642 LGUs. We were able to collect about 26.3 million data from the households. Not everyone participated, but a bulk of the total households participated because CBMS is voluntary. And with DepDep, because under the CBMS Act, DepDep will process the poverty tool for identification of those vulnerable households. And a substantial number of households were already processed, and we already sent about 3.1 million of this to the DSWD for their verification, validation requirements for the 4-piece program particularly. But this will also include other programs of the DSWD. We are helping them validating their list on Walang Gutom program that they already started. And other agencies with social protection program, again, under the CBMS Act, will have to utilize the community-based monitoring system database. So various agencies like the Department of Agriculture for their 20 peso per kilo rice program is engaging the PSA for data sharing. The Department of Energy for their line program on electricity consumption is also coordinating. So a number of agencies are already in the process of getting the CBMS identified list of potential beneficiaries, Mr. Chair. But we have already turned over substantial list to the DSWD because DSWD is the first agency that would really utilize the community-based monitoring system data. Thank you.
Kasi we had a hearing with the SWD, and then I'll show a slide here. Yung household 4-piece household beneficiaries actual versus target. In the PDP, they should be targeting 4.4 million families, no? But that 4.4 million families napako na siya eh. And so we asked them on why in the years of 2024, 2025, only 2024, only 4 million families were actually given. And on 2025, 3.9 million families. Apparently, these are based on their own survey and analysis. These are the families that are qualified, no? But because in the PDP, it's 4.4, they always ask for budget to a tune of 4.4 million families. Ngayon, one of our goals is to, ang sinasabi namin, kung hindi nyo naman gagamitin yung 4.4, then let's use your very recent analysis, which is 3.9 million families. So we can save close to about 4.4 billion pesos, no? But they were saying to us na, but since the CBMS is not yet given to them, they really don't know how many 4-piece beneficiaries are there, no? So nagiging chicken or the egg question. Sabi nila, kailangan namin yung CBMS para malaman namin yung totoong 4-piece beneficiaries. So in other words, ayaw nila bawasan yung 4.4 billion pesos. But we are saying, hindi nyo naman nabibigay yung 4.4 eh. no? Because pagpunta nila hindi na qualified yung beneficiaries, no? So that's why we are asking, the CBMS is an essential tool, no? By law, no agency can do their own targeting program except CBMS. Alam niyo naman yan, Yusek, Dennis. And so without CBMS, the four-piece targeting program will be inaccurate, no? So that's why we want to know, where are we in terms of CBMS, and if we still need funds in terms of fully rolling out CBMS.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yung sa ngayon, yung ating data ay nasa PSA databases na, and these are being, in fact, as I mentioned, we already transferred 3.09 million households to the DSWD. So alam ko na, I think during the hearing, hindi pa nailipat, but we transfer already, and we are coordinating with the DSWD, including all of your programs, kasi Secretary Rex wants to verify the existing list from the current CBMS data, because the CBMS data, of course, as you mentioned, is the most recent data from the households. So yun po, nagsisimula na po yung pag-share ng data from the community-based monitoring system to the different agencies that would utilize it.
Yusek, so we'll go back to the basics. All LGUs are already conducting their CBMS.
Ito pong 2024, ito po yung pinondohan ng national government for the rollout, and we already started transferring the data kasi yung according to the CBMS Act, the LGU data is owned by the local government unit. So we already, while using the data for targeting for the beneficiaries' national programs, we are also providing this data to the different local government units, and they are actually utilizing it. And Mr. Chair, just to add siguro, in 2022 kasi we also had CBMS, but not all LGUs participated because, you know, we had discussion on the budget concern, but 635 LGUs did participate in the CBMS during that time, whether funded by the national government or on their own account. So right now, because it was mentioned about monitoring, evaluation, 635 LGUs have two sets of data from the household, 2022 and 2024, and they are using this data to determine the interventions that they did after getting the 2022 data. So, for example, we report increase in internet access because they saw from the 2022 that a substantial percentage of their households doesn't have internet, so they made intervention. So, ginagamit na po ng mga LGUs, lalo na yung mga LGUs na may dalawang data sets po. Thank you.
So Yusek, to date, lahat ng LGUs meron na silang CBMS data.
Correct.
And the 3.3
Ayun lang po yung
million households na na-transfer.
Para four-piece beneficiaries.
For the four-piece.
Yes.
So four-piece natin is only 3 million.
May mga binabalidate po, pero yun yung unang binigay ng PSA.
So pwede pa kaming makatipid.
Pwedeng may dagdag po kasi
naghahanap kami ng pera.
Yeah.
To be honest, naghahanap kami ng pera. That's why we're very particular. We're allocating how much now sa four-piece? 112 billion 112 billion. 112 ba? Can you check? 112, no? Yeah, 112 billion. But we're saying kung hindi naman 112 equals to 4.4, no? Kung hindi naman 4.4 million families, then we're saying is bawasan natin in 112, no? By ito nga 4.4 billion. But they're saying hindi pwede kasi nga may wala pa yung CBMS. But we're saying now that according to the CBMS, only 3 billion lang families are qualified.
Ang ating ang agreement kasi sa DepDev, DSWD, and PSA is that we'll identify the poor, no, based on poverty threshold, and then there is like an adjustment upward a bit because of course may mga income na malapit to sa threshold, so there is like the near poor. So dinadagdagan po ng CBMS data sa tagging through DepDev yung near poor natin. So our expectation siguro, may estimate, no, 26.3 million na po kasi yung may datos. Our estimate is that it will run to about close to 4 million households yung
four-piece qualified.
Yes. pwede po kasing, Mr. Chair, depende kasi sa DSWD. Ano? So for example, if you have a threshold, let's put it a number, let's say 15,000. So below that, you have the poor. Of course, may mga households tayo na maybe 15,000 and 100 yung kanilang predicted income. So DSWD wants to cover this, which we call near poor. So the threshold could increase a bit. So we have together with DepDev some simulation on, let's say, what if it is 10% higher than the threshold, 15% higher, 20% higher. So at 10% higher than the threshold, that would be about 4 million.
4 million.
Oo.
Okay.
Pero pwede pa pong magdagdag kasi ang advantage sa CBMS data is that basically you can have a ranking of the estimated income, no, of the households, no, from the bottom to the top 26.3 million households.
Kasi kung 3 million lang yun, Secretary, makakabawas tayo ng close to about 30 billion pesos. Kasi 112 yun for 4.4 million families. So if you remove 1 million, roughly that's about 30 billion. So we can reallocate that to other important requests from the agencies. No, that's why that CBMS is very important because we can save a lot from. Sorry. Yeah, we can 25 ang exact, to be exact, no. 25 billion ang savings natin from that. So but if you're saying 4 million yun kasi to include near poor, you can still save 400,000 pa rin yun, no. So you know, kasi dito sa committee we're trying to find savings as kahit saan para we can help, diba? We can help the agency especially with their requests, no. Okay, so that's good to hear. And then I also saw in your budget there the 2026 may allocation 383 million for CBMS. Yeah.
Ito po, Mr. Chair, yung mga capacity building para naman sa mga LGUs. Of course, once they have the data, very important, they have to use it. So we, as part of the activities of the Philippine Statistics Authority, we do capacitate them on, data privacy. We don't want the CBMS data to be hacked at the LGU level. We also use them to capacitate them on poverty mapping and some of the different indicators. By the way, Mr. Chair, hindi lang ito yung income, no, yung ating projected income. Nandun din yung ating multi-dimensional poverty indicator. So the CBMS can identify at least 17 different non-income indicators. So the capacity building to the LGUs would include how they can utilize the data set, a huge and very useful data set from the community-based monitoring system. And some of these are preparation because our expectation, Mr. Chair, is that in the 2027, we will have another round of the community-based monitoring system.
Well, if it's 3 million families that are supposed to be qualified to 4Ps, magandang balita yan. Bumaba ang poverty rates natin, Secretary. Diba? Kasi we started with 4.4 now with CBMS, which is granular. Mas granular yan eh. No? Bumaba siya to 3 million. Then we lifted out of poverty is 1.4 million families. No? And I think that's consistent also with our poverty trends. Eh. No? So that's good news in my opinion. Of course, we need to capture some of the near poor kasi may vulnerable yan to
Correct.
food fluctuation, utility fluctuation. So okay yun. I'm open to that also because throughout the years may mga fluctuations that we need to shield them from. But it's good that at least based on CBMS, we lifted out of poverty close to about 1.4 million families. No? That's good that the programs are working. No? Okay. Another topic, and then itong request, itong 300 million plus in your budget, that's already enough to cover the next succeeding
Yes,
CBMS?
yes, Mr. Chair, this is preparation for the 2027. Kasi sa batas, every 3 years yung ating pag-conduct ng community-based monitoring system na you have the rollout, no? But of course, other LGUs, particularly those with enough funding, they conduct actually CBMS on a shorter cycle. Some are doing it on a yearly basis, but at least they have already the base information from the 2024 and just doing some additional data collection, yung mga hindi nasama kung mayroon silang specific na mga programa na gusto silang i-verify.
You said it's voluntary on the part of the LGU.
Po.
Household.
Yeah, the household.
Okay, not LGU.
No, not LGU.
So LGU mandatory yan.
Yeah.
Okay, akala ko.
Yung ating census kasi, Mr. Chair, para na makita natin yung mga numero, no, mga nasa 27.5 million households. Ang nakuna ng datos ng CBMS, 26.3. Kasi mayroon tayong consent na kung gusto mo bang mag-participate sa community-based monitoring system at mailipat ang iyong datos sa mga government agencies na may mga programa.
Are we guys still conducting census?
Yes.
So dalawa siya,
No,
CBMS?
we in 2024 to save resources because CBMS is census type.
Yeah.
We conducted both the 2024 census of population and the community-based monitoring system.
Sabay na siya.
Sabay na po, kaya nakapag-save din po ang PSA on the resources to conduct the census. Kaya napaaga po yung ating mid-decade census. Dapat yung schedule niya is 2025. But because we are doing the CBMS in 2024, we said that, we just have to do the census count together with the CBMS.
Okay. All right. Thank you for those updates, Yusek. Just let us know if you still require additional resources for CBMS kasi yan ang pinaka-basic natin ngayon, CBMS. Next will be on the national ID issue. Secretary, Yusek, can you give us an update on where we are in terms of the national ID?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. On the national ID, we are doing the registration and in fact and validating. So it's registration and then authentication if you are that person really. So I've already registered and verified using both demographic and biometric about 90 million of our citizens, 90 million out of the 112.7 million individuals in our country. And yung mga kailangan na lang namin i-register talaga, hinahanap namin yung 0 to 4. Majority of those na 5 and above ay narehistro na po yon sa national ID. Yung 0 to 4 na lang, mga 7 million pa. Kasi kailangan na nandun yung kanilang parents, no, before we can register them. Saka yung ating mga overseas Filipino workers. But most of the citizens in the country already registered and verified. And this is also already being utilized, Mr. Chair, by government agencies on authentication. So we have already authenticated 56 million of the different registrants in different programs. Ang una naming in-authenticate using demographic and biometrics, so to make sure that the person is unique in a way, ay yung DSWD kasi sila yung maraming programa. So lahat ng mga beneficiaries and their dependents on 4Ps, IEX, lahat po yan ay dumadaan sa verification, authentication ng national ID. Out of the 56 million authentication, about 46 million of this are from government. Ang majority ay DSWD. And the private sector, the financial sector are already using the authentication system of the national ID when they open bank accounts or e-wallets kasi nakalink na yung system ng mga banks na nag-participate sa ating national ID system. We are also pushing for, of course, you are aware, Mr. Chair, of the problem on the production and delivery of the physical card, but we accelerated our digital national ID with the help of our DICT. Yung digital ID naman kasi, Mr. Chair, moving forward, that is really the way to go for digitalization. From the latest survey conducted by PSA for the ICT, their national ICT in the household survey, we have already seen that 75% of population 10 and above have smartphones. And that is the key sa digital national ID. 90% of residents in Metro Manila na 10 and above have access to smartphones. So we are shifting to the digital national ID with the help of the ICT. But of course, we are aware that there are other areas, particularly in the rural areas, where access to smartphone is not as high as, let's say, the urban area. So the physical card and our national ID on paper form are still useful. But we are actually pushing now for the use of the digital national ID. But we are committed, the PSA is committed, as instructed by the President, that we will produce and deliver pa rin the physical card. But a registrant need not wait for the physical card because he or she can already utilize the digital version of the national ID, which is easy to access via the eGov app.
Yusek, the number of registration is 90 million, you said?
Ang ating registration number ay nasa 94 million, pero
94
yung
million.
authenticated and verified, kasi yun yung importante, Mr. Chair, yung unique ka is already about 89.8 million, close to 90 million. These are unique and verified individuals.
How come you need to verify them? Diba when you go there, may biometric?
Yung verification, Mr. Chair, yung using biometric nga.
Yeah.
Kasi minsan, dalawang beses sila
Okay.
may mga ganon, no? Dalawang
Meron
beses.
bang ganon? Have you detected?
May, yeah, dalawang beses, minsan naiinip. Yun naman yung common. So natatag namin yun. May iba naman, particularly yung mga beneficiaries ng government programs, iba talaga yung pangalan na nadidetect din ng PSA, ng National ID System, which we provide to the different agencies. The SWD will always provide reports na ito yung mga cases na two names, but from the National ID System, it is just a single person using the biometrics. Pwede yung demographic nag-iba, but the biometric is the same.
Okay, so the validated, unique and validated 89 million.
0.8 million.
89.8.
Close to 90 million.
So if our population is
112.7,
okay.
may mga hinahabol pa kami. Sabi ko nga kanina, Mr. Chair,
sabi nyo kanina,
yung 0 to 4.
0 to 4.
So 7 million sila. So yun pa yung hinahabol namin, plus yung mga overseas Filipino workers. So we are also joining the activities of the Department of Migrant Workers, yung kanilang mga serbisyo fair outside, because we also register Filipinos that have not been home since 2021 when we started the registration.
Okay. And how many cards have we issued already?
The physical card, Mr. Chair, is about 55 million. Already. So mayroon pa kaming backlog of 35 million. But we will start already because you're aware that last year we discussed our MOA with the BSP. We canceled it because of problems of the service provider. So we were able to find another service provider and we will start printing it in fourth quarter to cover the backlog.
Pero yung 55 may physical, so ang balance nilang is
35
about 35. They can access
Marami na pong nag-access ng digital din.
In fact, mas maganda nga yung digital eh.
Correct,
As
Mr. Chair.
ako, I prefer, kasi yung mga iPhones ngayon, may mga wallets.
Correct.
So you can actually save your cards in the wallet,
Yes.
no? And you can use that.
Yeah.
So
Mga 56 million na po yung nag-access ng digital version at any as reported by the DICT. But again, Mr. Chair, we are very mindful that of course we have a digital divide. Sabi ko nga kanina, in the National Capital Region, 90% of 10 and above have access to smartphone from the latest survey of the PSA. Pero let's say in BARM area, mga 50% lang yon. So yun naman yung aming pinaprioritize doon sa physical card and the national ID on data form. So we are targeting actually areas.
like ako, my physical card, I can also get a digital card.
Yes.
How do I do it?
eGov app po.
eGov app.
Yeah. I'll send you later on the simple steps, Mr. Chair. To access it because we are promoting yung pag-access ng digital national ID through the
Para marinig rin ng mga taong wala pang card na they can actually get their
digital ID.
Digital ID,
Digital
which I
national
think is better, no?
Correct.
Kasi yung wallet, minsan sa wallet mo nasisira, nababaluktot.
Yes.
And then if you have that on your smartphone,
Tinatanggap na po 'yon sa ano?
Tinatanggap na ba 'yon? Paano malaman, let's say, ng bangko or ng airline na ikaw talaga 'yon?
Nandun po may QR code din po kasi siya. So the information from the physical card is actually available in the digital national ID, and we are tracking the non-acceptance, Mr. Chair. No, very mindful ang ating regulator, Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, because there is a memo that the national ID in any form must be accepted, whether that's a physical card, the digital, and the national ID on paper form. And Mr. Chair, if you recall, noong August and September, may mga free rides tayo sa MRT pag may national ID ka. A lot of our citizens actually makikita natin sa video that they're already using the digital ID. So which is good. As I've said, and you mentioned, very convenient, and we have our data showing na marami na talagang may smartphone, and that is really the mechanism to access the digital national ID.
But that's good to hear, and it's good that we explain this to our constituents so that those who have not yet received their physical card, they can get their digital card, and it's exactly the same feature, the same authentication. Magagamit na nila yan sa mga transaction nila. Yung sa banks, have we resolved that? Because may mga banko, I think I referred this to you one time, na they want
The
yung signature, no?
Yes.
Pero wala namang signature sa card. So have we resolved that?
Yung instruction ng we discussed this with our partner, yung Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, at ang ginagamit ngayon, Mr. Chair, ay yung dalawa dun sa ating e-verify system using the QR code or your biometrics, either well, commonly yung ating facial recognition. So mayroon na kasing system. In fact, most of the relying parties, yung mga partners na naka-link na sa national ID database, they use the e-verify system, which is available. So you can access your national ID, let's say in digital form, and then the system will check, will authenticate you through your demographic information and biometric information. Yun na po yung sinasabi ko kanina na mga 56 million na po yung gumagamit.
So if someone goes to the bank and then opens an account, they can show their national ID, digital or physical.
Yes.
Tatanggapin na ito ng bangko.
Yes, kasi kung relying party na siya, Mr. Chair, hindi pa lahat ng banks ay relying party. So kung may relying party na, may system na binibigay, nakalink sila sa national ID database, at yun na yung gagamitin nila, yung system na yon, and it goes through the e-verify system of the DICT, our partner in the authentication process.
Okay. So they can go to that e-verify and see na ito talaga yung tao. Andun na ba yung signature nun?
Yung sa digital national ID, you can include the signature there. Pero yung ginagamit ng mga, kasi Mr. Chair, yung signature naman, pwede naman mga fake yun. Ano? Ang ginagamit talaga sa e-verify system, yung biometrics.
Okay.
So may iba na fingerprint, ang karamihan facial recognition.
Ang ano ko na lang, suggestion ko, Yusek, to mandate the banks to be a relying partner and use that, kasi that's the whole point of having a national ID, no, to use that. But some banks, I know, dati ito, I haven't heard anything now. They really require IDs with signature, no? Kasi yun raw ang kailangan. So it defeats the purpose of our national ID. We invested so much funds already, 24 billion already in our national ID system, pero hindi naman nagagamit. Sayang. So
ngayon, Mr. Chair, well, compared to, let's say, last year, mas marami nang gumagamit. As I mentioned kanina, we have already counted 56 million authentication, and mga 12 million dito ay nasa private sector, 6 million sa financial, and then 6 million sa ibang private sector na relying party. So it is being utilized, Mr. Chair, and we at the PSA continuously engage the private sector, particularly yung mga financial entities natin, to use the national ID system for their transaction. Kasi the verification, of course, is stronger because it utilizes the demographic and biometric information. Thank you.
Yusek, there's also another issue with the printer. No, can you give us an update on what happened to that?
Yung partner namin,
This is all cards.
sa BSP, and then they have a service provider. But last year, we canceled the agreement with the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. We agreed that PSA is, better perhaps to to move forward and find its own service provider. So we have already a MOA with the National Printing Office, Mr. Chair, and we will start the testing itong fourth quarter for the first set of national ID cards that will be printed para makover namin yung mga 35 to 36 million that is still our backlog.
There are two problems here, no? Number one is the performance of all card, no? Tama ba?
Yeah.
They couldn't deliver on time. And the other one is also the data. Based on a COA report that all cards have handles part of the card personalization system provided by the Bangko Sentral. So they have access to information. No?
Access to information, Mr. Chair, before we terminated the memorandum of agreement with the BSP, so natapos na yung aming engagement with them and all cards. Yung mga nasa printing stations naman ay PSA personnel. But of course, yung all card technicians, they help us kasi sila yung nagpapatakbo ng machines. But those that are printing the cards and those that are checking sa quality control, yun yung may mga access to information. Those are personnel of the PSA before, stationed at the BSP East Avenue complex.
Meron bang access ang all cards to personal information?
Yung database,
that's-
wala sila.
Based on COA reports, meron silang nagkaroon sila access to personal information?
Ang pwede siguro masabi, Mr. Chair, na access to personal information kasi when you print a card, di ba, mayroon yung mga pangalan, but that is the stage that a person, a technician from the all cards may able to look at it. But in terms of database, wala akong alam na mayroon silang access. As I said, the all cards technician before are in charge of the machines. Kasi sila yung sa machines and then mga tao ng PSA naman ang nagpiprint. Kasi ganoon palagi yung agreement, no? We are mindful of the sensitivity of the information in the national.
So we can be assured that all cards does not have the database.
Wala.
Okay.
Wala.
And then did we make any down payment to them? Did government made any advance payments in terms of the printing of cards?
Yung ang partner kasi namin, Mr. Chair, is Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. We pay based on printed cards.
Okay.
So parang kung may cost and then kung 55 million, yun ang binayaran namin.
Upon delivery,
Yeah,
in
upon
other
delivery.
words.
Yeah,
So in other words, PSA walang exposure
Wala.
all cards. Okay. It's a BSP siguro.
BSP.
Okay. But the contract is with BSP.
And all cards.
And all, sorry, PSA with BSP.
It's a MOA and then they have all cards as their service provider.
Bakit ganun, no? I think the intention is for BSP to print it because it's G2G. Pero eventually they subcontract it out also to another private entity na hindi naman nakadeliver. No? Parang nawala yung G2G purpose. Sa G2G, mas mabilis. At least negotiated na lang siya. No?
So I assure you, Mr. Chair, may binabayaran namin na they bill, BSP billed us based on the card that were released to us. And may mga sinesettle lang kami ngayon yung mga last year's turnover from BSP to PSA. But there's no advance payment whatsoever.
Okay. And then moving forward, you are now going to you said you
National Printing Office.
National Printing
Yes.
Office. But this one, National Printing Office will do it themselves.
Yes.
They will not subcontract it to other
Yes.
to other.
They will do it. The agreement is clear, and then the PSA will be there for assistance on the checking, quality assurance, and everything.
Okay, that's good to hear. Another issue, Yusek, ito familiar tayo lahat kay Alice Guo. Any updates on reforming the late registration process, preventing another Alice Guo from happening again? If you remember, it's not only Alice Guo.
Right.
There's a municipality in Davao del Sur that issued 1,200 late registration birth certificates, no, of which I think you found out at that time parang 20 ba na spurious?
Mas marami pa po.
Can you
Mr.
give us
Chair.
updates na lang?
Yeah.
Two things, no? One is reform on the late registration process. Number two, updates on the epicenter of that late registration process, which is Davao del Sur. No, so two updates.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you are aware, the late registration is not really unique, no? Based on our 2020 Census of Population and Housing, 3.4% ng ating mga citizens ay wala pang birth registration, or this is about 3.7 million Filipinos na wala pa talaga. And that is part of the mandate and responsibilities ng PSA na kailangan irehistro sila sa ating civil registration database, no? But I agree na after the Alice Guo case, we made some reforms. Part of that is that we strengthen the late registration procedure. Sa ngayon po, pag wala ka pang birth certificate, magle-late register ka, simultaneously kailangan marehistro ka na rin sa national ID para at least makuha yung demographic and biometric information mo. So sabay na po yon, no, sa mga late registrant. And then binalikan ng Philippine Statistics Authority lahat ng mga late registration na nangyari noong 2010 hanggang 2024. Napakarami po yon at we analyze the problem and we look at actually about 50,000 of this possible problematic
Ilan?
50,000 po. Pero
50,000?
possible problematic. Yun po yung sa datos natin. And what we did, hindi naman po lahat. Kasi may mga information. This is like using data analytics, and then we deployed our personnel from the field offices and together with our provincial offices at na-audit namin itong mga local civil registry at mayroon po tayong mga na-identify na possible highly irregular, mga 840. 840. So yun po yung ano. Yung iba naman, hindi naman Pilipino naman po talaga yon. Baka mayroon lang kasi sa late registration, may mga submissions na kailangan i-verify. So out of that, we saw 840 na highly irregular, and we already recommended cancellation of 2. And these are from the municipality of Pikit in North Cotabato po. So mayroon tayong nakita doon. Doon naman po sa Davao del Sur, sa Municipality of Santa Cruz.
Itong dalawa ba, sorry to interrupt you, Yusek, itong dalawa, anong potential nationality nila?
Ang report sa akin ng FMD ay possible Chinese.
Chinese rin. Ito yung sa Pikit. Kasi it can be any nationality. It can be Indian, can be Malaysian, can be... Diba? So, kaya sabi ko potential because we don't know eh.
Yeah.
No? Yeah. Okay.
Doon naman po sa ating unang discussion last year sa Senate with you, Senator, and sina Senator Risa, plus yung information sa Congress, nagkaroon na po kami ng endorsement to the Office of the Solicitor General for the cancellation of 1,472 certificate of live births. Ang karamihan po dito ay galing sa Davao del Sur na province, no? Included po dito yung kay Alice Guo, and may 3 pong certificate of marriages that we are also we recommended to the OSG for cancellation. Habang pinag-aaralan ng OSG, the PSA already blocked all of these civil registry documents para hindi na po ma-release. So naka-block po sa system namin. So if you, for example, if you're part of this and you will request, hindi na po lalabas yun kasi may tagging na naka-block, no? And continuous po yung aming pag-audit sa mga local civil registry offices na may nakita kaming possible problems. And as I've said, moving forward, yun naman yung reforms that we initiated, medyo stricter, plus registration also to the national ID, so that at least the demographic and biometric information can be generated, captured, and verified from the database of the national ID. Doon naman sa case ni Alice Guo, of course, we filed a case in the RTC of Tarlac, and the RTC of Tarlac actually recently, so OSG and PSA filed petition to cancel the birth registration last July 4, 2024. And recently po, yung certificate of live birth ni Alice Go was declared void by the RTC 3rd Judicial Region Branch 111 Tarlac City last 24th September. So this is a good news for the Philippine government, Philippine Statistics Authority na napakita po na at declare ng RTC na void po yung birth registration ni Alice Go. So yun po ang update namin, Mr. Chair.
Just to get the numbers correctly, Yusek. So you've detected 50,000 potential problematic birth certificate, of which 840
Highly irregular.
are highly irregular, no?
Oo. At dalawa na po yung nakita namin na i-endorse na for cancellation.
Out of that 840, dalawa na endorsed for cancellation. Now, yung 1,472 na na-endorse for cancellation, this is part of the 50,000?
Outside the 50,000.
Dito yung una pa ito?
Yeah, ito pa yung una po.
Ito pa yung una. Okay. And then, how many of those came from Davao del Sur? More or less lang?
Mga more than 1,000 po.
So, almost 70%?
Yes.
Grabe.
Doon ng ano.
And obviously, hindi to just plain clerical error. It's deliberate and malicious.
That's the conclusion po ng aming team, and also being investigated na po yan. Ano? I think may mga cases filed na ang ating National Bureau of Investigation doon sa mga personnel involved po sa
civil registrar.
Sa civil registration.
Yan ang next tanong ko. Have we penalized? Mayroon ba na parusahan dito? This is 1,000 out of the 1,400. Hindi yan just simple nagkamali lang or ano. Ito talagang deliberate to eh.
Correct, Mr. Chair, and the team, our Fraud and Management Division of the Philippine Statistics Authority, continues po yung coordination sa National Bureau of Immigration, Bureau of Immigration, and the DFA. Mayroon po kaming data sharing, and ang aming latest na nakuha na update is that may mga cases filed doon sa mga personalities involved in this different LCROs. So ang ginagawa po ng PSA, once we have also the information as generated by our Fraud Management Division, particularly itong sa Pikit, North Cotabato, Nabago, we are sharing this also to the National Bureau of Immigration. We have a working group, Mr. Chair, sa mga agencies para madali na po yung pag-share ng data at ma-tag din, particularly sa Bureau of Immigration and DFA. So they are also providing us data, we verify, and working with them and law enforcement agencies.
Cases have we filed against erring government officials?
Ang
Yusek.
Ang understanding ko may dalawa sa local civil registry office ng
Probinsya?
Doon po sa LCRO na file ng case ng National Bureau of Investigation po. And then there are other names. There are 4 people po. I can provide the name siguro to the chair of the committee.
Sige, what's important is may
Yes po.
file na case, no? Because the other day lang we had nag-organize na in Defense Committee ng Senate at napag-usapan namin sa committee kasama si Secretary Teodoro that one of the biggest gaps in terms of espionage in our country is the late registration process. Nakita ito ng mga iba't ibang bansa. I'm not gonna single out one country, but nakita to ng iba't ibang bansa. And that's a weakness in our system that can be exploited by people who want to create problems in terms of national security in our country. So we need to make sure that, first of all, yung mga umabusong government official, maparusahan. At pangalawa, ma-plug natin yung gaps. No?
Yes, Mr. Chair. We are also strengthening our visits to the different local civil registry offices and meeting. No, personally, I'm meeting the different local civil registrars ng mga probinsya to discuss with them the seriousness of the problem pag mayroon po tayong mga late registration na hindi naman talaga mga Pilipino po.
Yusek, I saw in your budget that the civil registration program has 6 billion pesos. This is actually almost half of your budget.
Yung kasama po dyan ang national ID po.
Kasama na dito.
Kasi nandun siya sa line na yan, ano, yung civil registration national ID. Yung ating civil registration service, ito po yung mga steps moving forward, ano, simulan na namin, Mr. Chair, para malaman talaga, matrack natin yung mga particularly late registration. The solution really is the end-to-end digitalization process. So yun po yung ginagawa namin ngayon. Kailangan na mag-report kaagad, no, yung ating mga local civil registrars sa PSA at ma-check natin, parang hindi naman real time but near the reporting of the events. So that is actually a bulk of our undertaking now for the civil registration service. But it's not the 6 billion.
Yeah, it's 400 pala.
Yeah.
477 million.
I know it's just
2 billion kasi yung
sa national ID.
Yeah, 2.7. Yung itong 477, is this enough already to assure the country that none of this late registration problems will happen again?
Yung late registration, Mr. Chair, unfortunately, we have to do it because as I've mentioned to you, talagang kailangan nating hanapin
I agree,
yung
but we need to reform it
Correct.
and digitalize it.
Yes. Yun po yung nagsimula po kami ngayon. We are doing a pilot of about 88 local civil registrar, 1,642 po sila. Next year, mga 600 po yung dadagdag namin. This is a 4-year program po ng Philippine Statistics Authority that by 2027, 2028, ay nakalink na po yung database ng mga local civil registry offices sa Philippine Statistics Authority. Ibig sabihin, pag na-report yung event sa'yo, let's say may bagong panganak doon or may late registration, maipapadala na kaagad sa database ng Philippine Statistics Authority, and then there's a digital trail, sino nag-prepare ng document na yan, and whatever problems makita kaagad. Unlike ito po ngayon, kasi ang karamihan dito, of course, sa mga local civil registry offices, paper pa po. So we are shifting towards digitalization.
That's included here in the 477?
Yes.
Okay.
Pero hindi po one year.
It's a multi-year.
Series, no? Kasi marami rin po yung mga LGU, so we are doing a gradual.
Yeah.
But this is a 4-year program, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, I agree that the way to solve this is to digitalize it from end to end. Kasi ngayon mano-mano
Yes.
pinapadala eh. No, if we can do it digital, meaning pag pinasok na ng local civil registrar, it will appear na sa central, mabilis na natin ma-detect.
Tama po. Ma-verify ka agad sino nag-prepare ng mga documents na to. So nandun po yung digital trail.
Yeah.
Who prepared from the hospital even or from the local, kasi hindi naman po sa local civil registrar. So galing sa hospital or galing sa barangay clinic if it is a new birth. So hanggang doon po ang aming pag-process ng digitalization procedure.
Okay. We'll support that. Yusek, let us know if you need some more support for digitalization.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Itong you said may certificate of marriages na cancel, 3. Kasama ba dito yung parents ni Alice Guo? Diba? Kasi dito may ano yun eh, may certificate of marriage yun eh. Oo.
Walang marriage daw. Negative po yon ang report namin. Negative. So wala silang
pero doon sa birth certificate,
mayroon. Pero wala silang marriage certificate.
Okay. Yeah. Ay natandaan ko sa birth certificate that they declared married eh. Okay. All right. So sino itong 3?
Can we provide it to the chair later?
Sige.
Chair?
Yeah, sige. All right. Okay. Yusek, I saw in the additional request, marami dito PSA related. Do you wanna give us like for example, survey for food demand, that's 100 million. And then, meron akong nakita eh.
Dalawa lang po yung aming
Okay.
pinadala. But yes, Mr. Chair, yung survey of food demand is very important. Yung survey of food demand kasi, doon natin kinukuha, Mr. Chair, yung consumption ng ating populasyon, particularly doon sa mga important commodities. Para makita naman natin kung ano yung consumption na kabuhan, ano? Particularly in this case, rice. The last survey of food demand was conducted, I think, sometime 2015. And it, of course, yung ating consumption pattern changes, and we feel that it is really due, long overdue to conduct the survey on food demand. Para malaman natin na bumaba ba yung ating per capita rice consumption in the last 10 years, yung ating meat consumption, and so on. Input po ito kasi doon sa ating pag-estimate ng consumption versus the production that we produce, and of course decision yon for importation if ever there is a deficit. So sa ngayon yung ating ginagamit ay medyo old data, of course adjusted for certain parameters, but we feel in fact we requested this already, Mr. Chair, for past 3 years, yung survey on food demand, and we feel that this is really important, particularly sa agricultural sector, for decisions on whether we have enough production to really support our consumers.
We'll take note of that, Yusek.
Ma-receive din sila, sir.
Okay. Meron palang letter request. Yeah. And then there's also a COA report to eh. Yung unprogrammed appropriations amounting to 3.6 billion.
Yeah.
That were released to PSA. And so ibig sabihin you requested for an additional amounts. No, for 2024.
2024.
For 2025, did you request?
Wala po.
Okay, so ang punto ko lang naman is obviously nagkulang sa 2024. For 2026, meron pa ba kayong items na we need to augment so that we don't need to tap into the unprogrammed funds? Because Secretary, ang usapan dito sa Senate with the senators is to remove the unprogrammed funds, no? Because ako personally naabuso talaga siya these last 3 years, no? And so the chain of thought of the senators to remove unprogrammed funds. So I just want to ask the PSA if this 2026, because if you remove that, obviously wala nang pwedeng pagkuhaan ng PSA. Nakapasok na ba lahat for 2026?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Yung 2024 case, Mr. Chair, let me just explain it a bit, ano, kasi of course napakalaki. Nung 2024 kasi, we planned that we will do the community-based monitoring system. But we were not given enough fund by DBM. However, when there was a discussion with the Secretary RC, Secretary Rex, and the President and myself, na kailangan talaga ng bagong datos para nga dun sa ating social protection programs, because the before CBMS yung ating data for the social protection program, yung listahan ng 3, this was conducted in 2019, pre-COVID pa po. So we explained that there is a need to do a new data. That was in February of 2024, and then the President instructed that PSA should do the CBMS together with the census, and dun po nanggaling yung augmentation ng pondo kasi it's a census, and you know we require a huge fund. So dun po yung 3.6, pero hindi na po yun mangyayari kasi one time lang po yun.
Yeah, we just want to make sure that's where I'm coming from, no? Because we're also looking at the agencies who tapped into the unprogrammed funds, just to make sure that in 2026, when we remove it, everything that you need are already covered in the program funds. Nakita kasi namin, maraming hindi lang naman PSA, daming agencies nag-tap, no? From DSWD, from PSA, from I think also DepDev, if I'm not mistaken, meron ba? Or I think some agencies meron I can't remember all, no? So it became a buffer, which is good kung legitimate yung project. Maganda naman pag legitimate, pero kung let's say flood control, no? Kasi half of the DPWH requested projects in the unprogrammed funds are flood control, no? Half of it, no? So that's why I was asking earlier, pag dadaan ka ng RDC, ang hirap-hirap, pero pag nag-shortcut ka to unprogram, kaagad half of it marirelease, no? So that's why we're asking the agencies if they have if everything is already covered with the 2026 NEP. Okay.